Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to share with you a game-changing announcement of the Totally Tommy Express Car Wash 2015 edition announced live at the International Car Wash Association. Now this is a new edition of what you may already be familiar with of the Totally Tommy Express Car Wash model. This is the ultimate car wash, and these are popping up all over the country and around the world. It's a very modular business model that's easily duplicatable and replicated. It's a low labor business, exterior car wash with a free vacuum center. Turns out an outstanding, clean, shiny, dry car. And this is being accepted and raved by cities all over the country. In fact, cities are begging for these types of open, wide, spacious, bright car washes you see here. Now I'm going to go into detail today on what is known as one of the best designed car washes in the United States, and you'll see that in just a moment. The inside details of this facility are unbelievable, based on 45 years of car wash experience packaged together into this duplicatable facility. It's all about the details, and the last 10% is what makes all the difference from a good car wash to an amazing, outstanding car wash. I'm going to talk again about some of the traits of what we've designed in this facility that you can take back and duplicate some of these concepts in your own car wash. So this is a pretty typical lot size. We like to fit an average outlot. Today when Walmart's developing, they sort of parcel off the lots out front, and they are what they are, and they're designed for franchise type facilities like McDonald's or an Applebee's. We need to fit on that same size requirement. First thing you'll see about the facility is that it's centered on the property. We try and do that so that it protects your car wash, and it's similar again to franchises. The building you want centered and be able to drive around it. So the entrance on the top there, and then the exit and the vacuums, and that protects somebody from maybe building next door and blocking the view of your car wash. And it also helps traffic flow. We call it the left in, right out layout, okay? So we'd go through the left there and then out the exit into the vacuum area. This is a little bit of the vacuum center. And another thing you'll see about the building, that one of the most important things when we were designing this was to create a four-sided building. If you want to build several washes and duplicate them and have your iconic look, you want something that can sit parallel to the road or perpendicular to the road or maybe on a service drive. So you want it to look good from every angle, however it sits. And that's one of the things that we really wanted to build into this facility so that it could be replicated easily and look good from every angle. So this really fits the Express model, easy in, easy out, and into the vacuum area. We'll go into more detail about that in a second, but I want to show you a view as you're a customer, the motorist, driving down the street. You would pull into the facility over here on the right-hand side. One of the things important when you're designing a car wash, we like to have the point of sale area line of sight from where you enter the property. So that's the destination where someone's trying to get to. And so when they pull into the property, they need to be able to see their destination. Avoid hiding it in the back or in the back corner behind the building. The customer doesn't really know where to go, how to get there. So that visual line of sight, boom, there's my destination. On the left is the dry back room. We'll talk more in a second on that. And also, while you're waiting in line here, you see 3 lanes wide. And if the customer is waiting in line, of course, on a very busy day, they're entertained by being able to see into the wash, the open, bright environment. We call this the microbrewery effect. They can sort of see behind the scenes, they see some of the equipment, and it's a fun and exciting look environment there. Also notice the floor-to-ceiling window, a knee wall, and the louvers above. This is what we call the primary flight deck tower. We'll talk more on that in a second, but the pay station canopy here, 3 lanes wide, is ideal. On the left is a cashier lane, and the cashier helps process cars there, but 2 auto tellers combined with that. So this is really the ultimate design, and you can see the labeling on the different lanes there. 2 menus per lane, so one for the customer waiting and one for the customer paying, and all 3 lanes have RFID, Monthly Wash Club. After they pull out of the point of sale area, they go around this, what we call the stack. If possible, you like to have 6 to 8 car stacking, and that separates the paying process from the loading process, and that speeds up the flow. You will want to avoid collecting money on the conveyor if you don't have to, and by separating those pieces. Now you come uphill around the corner here, and I like to have a bank turn if possible a little bit, and then we start into actually a downhill approach. This kind of gives a feel like landing an airplane. You're coming in on approach, and you can see visually what your target is in front of you by having a little bit of tilt to the car. It also allows the customer to ride the brake pedal versus if it's flat ground, they get a hit gas brake, and it's a little more dangerous. This way they can coast right on in, ride the brake the whole way. It's safer and smoother. They kind of float in there. So take note of the man door next to the garage door is a nice tray to the facility. And then as we come in, this is the loading area, the entry module. It separates the loading process from the washing process. It's nice to try and divide those up a little bit. On the left, you see the door to the flight deck area, we call it. And notice the window on the left and to the right of that door. It's really ideal to get a wider panoramic view. You can maintain the counter space inside, but you have a better view as a cashier. And I'll show you a second. This is the inside of that tower then, where the cashier is taking care of cars and collecting money, but also that person monitors the loading process, so they can run out there and assist if anybody has trouble. This is a door that access allows you out to the point of sale area. You want to have a nice door, easy access back and forth. And then this window gives you a panoramic view of the wash. And we've gone into detail, so much detail on this model. We've really figured out the most efficient electrical runs, plumbing, everything, and even where the coffee maker sits, everything in here. These screens are the wash controller system. That allows you to control outputs, turn things on and off, watch your stack on those screens, as well as a management program that we've developed that you can do your daily checklist on. And again here, they can really see what's going on, start stop station, nice cabinetry built in, and the self-loading process is really an assisted loading process because customers are going to make mistakes. So you got to have your cashier in close proximity. Now we do this at our washes in Michigan at our 5 locations. We do this up to about 160 cars an hour. We will not have someone out working in that wash bay, but they're in close proximity. They're 10 feet away, they're engaged in what's going on out there, and they'll run out there the second somebody makes a mistake. Now this is the manager's office. This is your day-to-day manager. You want to have a nice office space for them. This is not typically your office, but your day-to-day manager, a safe, file cabinets, things like that, where they're going to make the schedule and whatnot. This is the bathroom, of course, employee bathroom in there, and then we've really kind of designed some of the cabinetry and what you need in an express car wash. This is the flight deck area, or the cashier station, in a little more detail. On the left, we like to have your cameras there. And then in the cameras, we like to put a camera in the pickup, out in the point of sale area that points in the pickup beds. So the cashier can watch that and look in the back of a pickup bed while they're standing there collecting money and verify that everything looks good. Also, we like to have a camera on the entrance module where we can see what wash they purchased, so that cashier can constantly be managing to make sure they see, okay, this is what I sold that guy, and they can monitor what services that customer got. And then the point of sale, of course, the cash register system, which, if you notice, faces the entrance incoming traffic. Now I'll go up the stairs here, a spiral staircase, up into the top floor. Now the bottom floor and the top floor, they're both about 280 square feet or so, just shy of 300. It's about a 30-foot by 10-foot wide tower. This floor is what we call the owner's suite. This is your area private where you've got, again, about a 300 square feet, nice space to work with, file cabinets, taxes, documents, things like that. This is where you wouldn't probably want to allow everybody to be, but it's a nice area for yourself for an executive suite. And the office here, again, looking out into the wash bay, you can see the equipment. You can really manage and monitor things. I'll show you a picture of that in a second. And up here in the owner's suite also we have a conference room, nice little setup where you might want to have meeting space, or you have vendors come in, want to have some room for that to meet with vendors. And there's enough room up here for a bathroom as well. Maybe you want to have a secondary bathroom, or maybe you want to put a nice big closet or something up there. There's plenty of room. We'll go back down the stairs and kind of tour you through the rest of the facility. So you're getting all these little traits. There's a lot of little tips in here, and again, the details are so much difference when you get all these details right, making your life easier. Even a door in the wrong place, you pay that price for the next 30 years. This really goes perfect here. Again, line of sight. We want to be able to see the conveyor and see the tire on the conveyor is important. So that's why the full-length window from floor to ceiling there, so that cashier can turn around and say, yep, that guy looks good. If we walk out the door, what we like to do in the entrance is have a TV system. It's really bold and bright and clear. So part of reducing customer errors of somebody doing the wrong thing is having a good entry system. Even, it comes down throughout the whole wash. If people are making mistakes, sometimes it's because of the entry. Now this is the wash bay. You'll notice the open and wide environment is one of the traits and the features. The screen's a little bit squished here, I think, on the video, but this is a pod system, and we plumb that overhead through the ladder rack. So out in the wash bay, it's 32 feet wide. It's comfy. You can walk through there. This is an area that's nice for maybe supplies, cleaning supplies, a sink, trash cans, stuff like that. You want to have that out kind of in the wash bay handy so that your staff is quick to pick up bottles, things like that, and throw them in the trash. And then notice here the knee wall is really a nice feature. It's nice to have that knee wall. That gets the dirtiest part of the wash bay, you know, down by the floor where it's really getting wet. And then again, the floor to ceiling full length window is nice for cleaning. Of course, there's a lot of windows, so that's a little bit more maintenance. It's a little trade-off, but it has a return on investment. It increases the customer experience. We do that at all our washes. Long windows, they take about 15 minutes to clean if you have the right brushes and the right process. And floor to ceiling allows you to go a full sweep on the window. This here's the chemical pod. So all the functions in the wash are now consolidated into 9 feet of space. And that right there is all your air controls, air assist for wrap brushes and things like that, and all your dilutions and injectors, all consolidated and built on board there. That feeds all the chemicals and all the water to the brushes. This is the hydraulic system. We like to as well have the hydraulics out in the wash bay. Anything that's line of sight adjustable we want to have. So in the old days you used to have to run in the back room, make an adjustment, run back out in the tunnel, see what happened, and run back in the back room. Anything that requires adjustment like torque, speed, chemical, things like that, we want it in the wash bay line of sight. But you're far from the equipment. There's a pretty good distance in there, so this is a very dry area. This is what we call the maintenance pod, and it consolidates all the things that usually get forgotten about in the car wash, like wall cleaner, window cleaner, some of the chemical things like graduated cylinders and all that stuff. This area we call the final application module, the final rinse arches, sealer, some of the branded sealant products. And then that's the rinse divider wall. It's nice to separate your tunnel from the blower room and break that up, and improves the drying process and the wash process. Underground here is what we call the pod chaseway. That feeds water and air and electricity to the pods and some of the communication cables for that. So inside there we've designed a 18-inch wide trench, and that's where we have hot water, cold water if you have both, conduits for your high voltage to the hydraulic units, some of the communications cables from the controller to the point of sale system, things like that. So that's the pod chaseway, and we like to have everything accessible. The thing you'll notice in the tunnel, everything above ground, we really avoid anything in underground conduits that are buried. This chaseway allows you to take that grading off if you want to lay a new line, work on something. So we try and avoid, you know, totally underground. All the equipment's plumbed overhead and accessible, because there's always a day where you want to add a new product or something and it makes it easy. This on the left is a hole in the wall for trash again, to throw bottles or something into the back room to the trash can is a nice feature. And then this is the man door going into the dry back room, we call it. So the thing with old technology and new, today everything is so much smaller than it used to be. It's amazing in these new facilities how consolidated they are. This is every piece of equipment. We've built this out worst case scenario. So that means if you had VFDs on your blowers and reclaim systems and all that, with every piece of equipment, where it sits specifically and why. So we've determined this piece needs to sit to the left of this piece because it makes the pipe shorter, or it makes the electrical wire shorter from here to the motor. It's all been really figured out, and you can duplicate that layout and process. The water main comes into the building 20 feet from the end wall. That was all the electrical panels. Electrical's on the end of the room. You want to separate that, of course, keeping it away from your water functions. And this is what's called a ship's ladder. It's a steeper ladder that takes you up to the top floor mezzanine. And here is the air compressor and some of the other pieces of equipment. On the left, a hot water heater, if applicable, in your package, which can ventilate out the eave. The step-down transformer at the end wall there. And then RO storage tanks. We found today that the storage tanks don't have to be really as big as we thought, as long as you have a good RO unit that produces fast enough. The difference in a very large tank to this style tank is only about maybe 20 minutes of washing. So if you're busy and you're not producing enough, you're in trouble anyway. And this tank fits very nicely up there, narrow, and sits up in the mezzanine, and that allows for gravity feed to the pumps below. So out here is a stop button, emergency stop, which is line of sight again from somebody standing in the wash bay, and a bay cleaning gun that can be pulled out of the wall. You know, you want to have that nice, quick, accessible, so they clean the bay, you know, faster and easier. The rinse wall again separates the washing from the drying. That's going to improve your drying. We call it the mist barrier. And then on the left, we like to put mirrors on the walls. We put them a foot off the ground and a 5-foot mirror. At our washes, we do it on both sides. Let the customer see themselves in their clean, shiny, dry car. And if they can do that, it also prevents them from going out and checking their car after they got out of the wash. They can see it in the mirrors. On the right here, you see the bay heater. You see that angled wall. We like to angle the wall, cut the corner. Anytime you got a square corner, you get debris build up and you got to power wash it and it's a mess. So we like to cut that corner wherever possible. Coming out of the tunnel is a downhill slope to kind of dump them off the conveyor as fast as we can. And then a trench drain. And then after that, we actually come back uphill. So we want to go back uphill to drain the bed of a pickup. You tilt the pickup and water flows out the back and goes into the trench drain before they get out on the street. Here's a little view of the end wall. Some of the utilities all come into one area. So it used to be random car wash design, and we had water came in here and we needed it over there. Now everything's consolidated in that area. Utilities come right into that one spot and they go right where they need to go. There's less crisscrossing around the site. This is called the storage tower. It's an architectural feature. Towers work nice because they allow you that more signage, so you can get by with saying, well, that's a lot of square footage. I can get a bigger sign sometimes with the city. Inside the tower is the storage room. This is where you'd have your landscaping equipment. It's a little bit smaller area. It's 25 feet long. And backstock of chemicals, seasonal supplies, marketing materials, things like that in the storage room. There you see that's the backside of that angled wall there. So kind of come out, if you had a central vacuum system also, we like to put that inside that tower, and then it's quiet, it's enclosed, and then you can run the manifold out the end of the tower and hit all the backs of those vacuums right there, okay? So the vacuum, if you have the space, two-sided vacs is nice. We designed this neat to try and put the vending machine actually in the wall there, trying to limit the glass a little bit, but you want to have enough glass to show off that open, bright environment and make it welcoming for the customer. The vacuum's dual hose. I like to have a hose on each side of the car. Is really a valuable feature to have. This is a press for attendant button. It rings a bell in the flight deck so that you don't have customers walking into the office or trying to walk into the tunnel. They can press for attendant. And then around again to the point of sale in the primary tower. I'm kind of breaking it apart, and again we'll kind of see some of the square footage and the sizes of this facility. And I'll kind of cut it away here. We'll do like a little section cut and let you sort of see inside what's going on in there. So here you see on the left again the dry back room, 30 feet long, all the equipment on the primary wall, all the main car wash equipment, and then a mezzanine in the second floor. See the vent there as well. That's a nice vent. We like to ventilate hot air from the back room into the tunnel. It's nice for heat in the blower room as well. So you're trying to get the hot air out of the back room and into the blower room. And to cut away further, you can see a little bit of the detail in here. The conveyor, typically short the conveyor about 5 feet on the entrance and 10 feet on the exit. And that allows a tire shine application that happens at the exit there while they're still inside the building, that they're being pushed off the conveyor, and then downhill they roll through it. They never notice the difference that they're not on the conveyor. So you can see underneath there, we've really gone into detail to build out the conveyor trench and the conveyor in the facility. You can see that loading area again, about a 15-foot loading room. And then a cutaway here, you see 4 drains. We like to have multiple drains from the pit out to the separator, the sediment tank outside, the reclaim pit. So the drains come out of there in different areas throughout the pit. We have peaks and valleys that keep that pit clean. And then this is the large of the options, a 4-stage. It's 4 units in the separator sediment tank outside. We like to build every system to have reclaim, even if you're not going to buy the unit up front. We like to have the option. And then you see this is out in the vacuum area. So if you ever had to do a pump out and it's a busy day, you're lying to the road, you're not impeding traffic, you can shut down a couple of vacuums and do a clean out on the tanks there. So on the passenger side of the tunnel, direct drain. And these 4 drains here are the pod chaseway draining into the conveyor pits. Some of those are conduits also for power to the conveyor. and then drains that, you see kind of the perspective now in that pod chaseway in relation to the conveyor pit chaseway, and then the point of sale system and around the facility. So I'm going to, some kind of way here. You see the, again, the size of the back room. Kind of feel that out, make sure it's comfy. You got enough room to work on stuff. The owner's suite, the flight deck office, and then you separate the tunnel up into the loading area, the washing area, and the drying area. All right, and then the you see the mezzanine there. Storage tower, always got to make sure you have the right amount of storage space. So there it is, Totally Tommy, the ultimate express car wash, a patented design and package system easily replicatable for the best car wash operators as well as new investors to roll out cutting-edge technology to provide for the needs of the marketplace. People are craving for these types of professional car washes. We are going to grow the system through exclusive development territories where we work with a regional developer to build out an area. This relies on patented equipment technology that you can only get here through this package system to provide this outstanding, stunning interior look that washes more cars. We have a global sales and support network as well as a full site branded option. So thanks so much for joining us. We look forward to serving your needs as well as the needs of your marketplace. Thanks.